We are live. Welcome to the first ever edition of the Demo Guys podcast. I'm Sam Kaplan, and I'm joined by my friend Jason Smith. Jason is the director of retail activation for Ithaca Hummus. We are very excited to bring our first podcast to you guys. A lot of prep has gone into this here in the month leading up to our launch. So appreciate everyone that's listening live. And of course, it's going to be available in archive format on YouTube as well. But Jason, good to see you. It feels like we just did this last night during the rehearsal, but it's good to see you again this morning.
Likewise, Sam. It's great to see you too, and thanks everyone for joining. Really appreciate it.
And then, before we get into our topics, we're going to talk about, the meaty food sale for $4 million. One of the biggest crashes in CPG history, from my perspective. I worked for Meaty for 2 months. In full disclosure, we'll talk about that a little bit. Also, looks like there's some other issues with some of the other plant-based companies, so we'll get in that a little bit. We're going to talk. Jason and I will also talk about some brands in the industry that we're very fond of, that we would love to see either begin to demo or maybe even accelerate their demo plans. And then also we're going to close the show with a product review. We're going to review Spindrift's new healthy soda. So we're going to talk about that. But Jason, let's kick it off. Just want to talk to you about our respective weeks in review. You had a very busy week last week out in Minnesota.
Yes, sir. So we had a Costco Roadshow last year. I posted a lot on LinkedIn. If any of you were following along with that journey, we sold out a couple of warehouses and some clubs, and we did extremely well. So we got our first rotation in Northeast. We sold through that product in about half the time we were expected to. So a lot of the regions now are reaching out to us for road shows. And we had our first Midwest roadshow last weekend. We're having another 3. We have one coming up this weekend at Maplewood, Minnesota. We're going to take a break for the holiday weekend, and then we're out in Glenview, Illinois, which is Chicagoland. And then after that, we'll be in Ann Arbor, which is a really strong club. We had a great show. 3 days we sold out. We had 4 to do it. We sold about 4,000 units. We had 3,840 to start on Thursday morning last week. We ended up walking out with about 200 units left on the shelf on Saturday night. We flew home early to our families, to our wives and stuff for Mother's Day, which was a gift. So
that's awesome.
It was great. Honestly, it's not my first rodeo with any brand. We built basically a revolving roadshow team with Perfect Bar. A gentleman named Palmer Bosim was a huge juggernaut of building the business through Costco, and it works. It's a great way to generate, just like demos work in retail. Everybody knows Costco. Everybody goes there to eat, and it's a great way to get trial and awareness on any product. And even if you don't win your roadshow, it's 4 days of some of the best exposure you're ever going to have. We had some great people stop by. Cole from Smackin' stopped by. We had Nancy Lee from stop by from Wild Wonder, and it was just really cool to see some industry people. A lot of people from General Mills came by and said hi and were inquiring about our growth. The no secret about Ithaca's growth. Nielsen IRI data and spins is out there for everyone to see. We're up 51% this year when the category is stagnant. So it's a great time with Ithaca. Sam, you had a great week too. I'd love to hear about it.
Well, I don't want to gloss over the success that you guys had last week, because we have a lot of people that are going to be watching this show that have either been doing Costco road shows or may have those opportunities coming up. There's been an initiative for 2025 for Costco and other club channel retailers as well to increase the velocity of road shows. I think it adds to the experience for customers. But a lot at stake with those road shows. I know, like you mentioned, you're no rookie when it comes to road shows. But were there any key learnings? Because for me, whenever we do a road show or demo campaign with one of our clients for brand ambassador consultants, I feel like I learned something new with each campaign. Were there any key learnings that you derived last week?
I don't know if it was last week necessarily, but one thing I will say about Costco and anything with your brand, you need to have the people from your brand there to represent your brand. And that's crucial in a roadshow where you're trying to prove yourself in Costco. You have to realize that the size of the prize with Costco. This is a massive opportunity. It's it's the club that is going to build a brand for Better For You anywhere in the country. And you've got 4 days to showcase your product to thousands and thousands of people. And do you want to rely on somebody just to do a sampling and hand out samples and just taste the product, not knowing what it is? Or do you want an educated consumer, once they leave that table, walking away with some kind of satisfaction and understanding why, maybe it's a little bit more premium, but why they're spending the money for that premium product? And honestly, it's been the key to the success with Ithaca Hummus is, our road shows is just having the team there, explaining the products, getting people more excited to try multiple flavors. And when you get people tasting multiple flavors, there's a good chance they're going to pick one up, two or three up versus one. Would you rather sell 3 units to one person or 1 unit to 3 people? It's just simple math. It's just the more you can sell to the more out the door, the faster you can sell, the more the velocities you can build, the better story you can show your category manager. It's just it's winning at every level.
And that's one of the keys we teach our team is to have the customer run the flight. It's unlimited samples at Costco, and it's hard to sell multiples at Costco because you get this bulk size container or package of something. And the feeling is, hey, this is going to last me a month. This could last me 6 weeks. I'm not going to buy 2 units when I'm getting this one huge unit. But the way to kind of overcome that obstacle and sell in multiples is have them fall in love with more than one variety. And the only way to do that is to have them run the flight, get them to try one of everything, even let them try 2 or 3 times if need be to really hook them. One thing I did notice that I thought you guys did really well in terms of execution, proximity to product. I don't know if it was Chris or someone else from your team. They posted a really nice photo of the cooler stocked with Ithaca hummus. I mean, it was just a wall of Ithaca hummus. And that is something that is another key that I think for brands that go in there is to make sure that before your roadshow starts or your widespread demo campaign in a Costco territory, have a plan, get the information, talk to your buyer, your broker, someone from CDS. Where's the product going to be in relation to the demo table? And I thought you guys that was excellent placement. Was there any like backstory to that, how you guys were able to secure such an awesome cooler?
Sam, I love that you asked that question. So before our roadshows start, we go and visit the clubs. We want to learn who the CDS lead is. We want to learn who the merchandising manager at the Costco is. Those are the 2 people that are really going to set you up for success, right? There's been a couple names for the person that you need to connect with when the grocery team, dairy team, wherever you have placement in Costco. Every category is a little different, but everyone in Costco is a dream come true to work with on most levels. Like, they're just so supportive of brands. And if you just go in there and meet with them, show your face, introduce yourself, and just ask simple questions, they're pretty much going to lay it up for you. We went back, we said, we just met with the merchandising manager. Was like, where do you think is the best place to set up? There's bunker coolers. There's all these different options. We said, hey, what about this wall cooler? And what about us just setting up in front of here and just doing this demo right here where it's going to be a lot of traffic? It's kind of close to the hummus set. It's right here by the produce. Everything's really close by. And it's kind of you always want to set up where you're going to get a lot of traffic and you're going to get seen the most. And if you can get an end cap wall cooler like we did at that club, it's just a lot easier. We learned that the first road show that we did. We had that opportunity at Leesburg in Virginia. They set us up similar to that. And it was so easy just to send people over to the case and then mix and match. Like, we're literally giving them boxes and they're putting mix and matching 12. It's just, it's seeing that visually is a game changer. And everybody walks by it, even if they don't try the samples at first, and then they get interested. They see all the activity around the table and they come over. So, everybody knows placement's key. And, any kind of secondary placement like that, or any kind of, prime real estate that you can get in retail is key for success in any scenario, but especially during a roadshow. But yeah, we met with the CDS team. They were completely prepared when we walked in Thursday morning. There was no guessing. The team had already packed the cooler out for us. It was just so easy to work with the Midwest teams. So, but it takes just that little bit of time going in the day before and building that relationship.
And not everyone will have the budget maybe to fly in a day early, but I have found that you can get a lot done sometimes with Costco over the phone. Costco is a retailer that speaks the language of sales. If you can make a compelling case that what you're asking for is going to lead to higher sales, I have found that Costco is all in. They are very open to ideas that are going to generate more sales. There's a reason why Costco's stock is trading at nearly $1,000 a share. They are a sales-minded, sales-driven company. But briefly touching on my week in review, because we want to keep this show moving. We've got a lot to discuss here. We had a great week last week, Brand Ambassador Consultants. It was actually our biggest week in company history. I want to thank, though, two different groups. First, the brands, our client partners that have entrusted us with their livelihoods and gave us some major opportunities out in the LA district this past week. But also I want to thank my team. We had a lot of brand ambassadors working concentrated in the LA district this past weekend, and they were amazing. They were amazing. As you know, Jason, it's a brand ambassadorship is a talent-driven industry. If you've got the right people behind the table going for you, you can make magic happen. If you don't have the right people behind the table, you're just flushing money down the toilet. So our team out there in LA, and we were demoing in other parts of the country as well. They were just spectacular this past weekend. So just want to publicly shout out all the brand ambassadors out there. Also had a nice fun meeting at Kimmerton Whole Foods in Collegeville. Derek Gould from Vibrance Marketing arranged it. I was able to hang out with Derek for a little bit at Collegeville. Kimmerton also got to meet Thomas Crookham as well, so that was pretty cool to get to meet him. Jason, you were missed. You were invited, but you had other things going on there out in Minnesota, selling some Ithaca hummus. But I want to turn our attention to one of the big feature topics that we kind of teased last week and at the open of this show, and that is one of the biggest crashes of all time in CPG history. From my perspective, the news came out, was reported last week that Meati Foods, a leader in the alternative protein and plant-based meat category, sold for $4 million, which came as a bit of a shock considering that over the life cycle of that company's history, they had raised around a reported $450 million in investment capital. So first I want to disclose that I did work briefly for Meati Foods several years ago. It was a brief stay, 2 months. I was part of a big group of layoffs. No hard feelings. It actually turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me in many aspects. From a business perspective, that it kind of pushed me over the edge to start Brand Ambassador Consultants as a full-time agency. And I met some great people while working for Meati Foods. I got to meet Matt Plume, Patrick Jamay, some other awesome people that I'm still in contact with to this day. So no hard feelings. Also, I did have to sign an NDA. So if any Meati lawyers are watching this, I'm not going to disclose any inside information. It's all anything that we'll reference here is all public information. If you have any questions, I'll send you the links. Just send me an email. I'll send you all the links there. But it's interesting to hear that news, Jason. My first thoughts were, wow. But it's interesting because I don't think it's the end for plant-based meat. I don't think it's the end for Meati Foods. This actually could be a good thing for them. The new owner is going to come in. If it all gets approved, he comes in, at a very low price of $4 million. He's got a lot to take on in terms of potential financial liability. That I'm assuming that there's some debt there. Also, the new owner is going to have to fund operations, but it's a good thing in the sense that for those that have vested shares of Meati, my understanding would be that, by Meati not going bankrupt, not filing for bankruptcy, they're potentially going to retain their shares of stock. I worked for a company years ago. In a previous life, I was a sports writer, sold my company. It was a fantasy sports website to a company called fanball.com. I had a lot of stock options as a result of that transaction. And fanball.com filed for bankruptcy. I lost all my shares, were invalidated. And then it went to a bankruptcy auction, and two people reacquired Fanball. It just so happened it was two of the original investors. So this move, we don't know what's going to happen in terms of the new ownership. If it's approved, how they're going to approach the debt that they may be taking on. But if the new owner is fully capitalized or can raise capital, there's a lot of assets there. And I am still bullish. I may be one of the few people still bullish on the alternative protein category, but I just think that there's a lot of innovation in that set. And I think that, over time, it could rebound. And I want to go back to a time, Jason, pre-COVID. I'm sure you remember Beyond Meat. They were doing a ton of demos at one point. This was you and I were I believe you were in the stores for Perfect Bar at that time. I was doing my own thing for Brand Ambassador Consultants version 1.0. And it seemed like almost every Whole Foods I went to, there was also a Beyond Meat demo going on. Is that a type of strategy for Meaty Foods as they come out of this with new ownership? What would you, if you were the director of retail activation for Meaty Foods, how would you structure their field marketing strategies?
Well, first and foremost, I feel for some of the friends that I have in Meaty, Alex Mank, some other great people I've worked with. I hope everything's good. Here's what I would say to you, Sam, and I completely agree with you. The alt meat business is there. It's there for the taking. And Meaty has a great product. But I think it's time to go back to basics. And what you just mentioned, just like, what every other brand before the pandemic really did. And it was, you didn't go out and leverage PODs as your strategy to grow. I understand points of distribution are important and it makes you look really good on paper. The problem with that is if your velocities aren't sustained, you're not going to keep those points of distribution. And once you lose points of distribution, it's tough to get those back. And a product that's as great as Meaty, to me, just got rushed out into every retailer really quickly and without awareness. And honestly, I knew who they were. And I was walking by the shelves and Wegmans and a bunch of retailers out here thinking, wow, they got distribution fast. But the turns weren't there. And, they hired really quick to get a brand ambassador program going, but they didn't stick it out. And that's really what hurt them. I think if they would have just stayed that strategy with people who really understood, like, it doesn't happen overnight. You're not going to have one demo and explode into a $100 million company. Just that's not reality in today's world. But for every demo that you do, it's like compounding interest when you're investing. You don't know the actual ROI on that. It's probably a lot easier to track the ROI on a demo than most activity in retail. Why? Because if you can get register data, you can actually see what's sold. So that's great. But there's so many other aspects to the demo you can't measure. Every interaction that you have with a person, as long as it's positive, can pay down. They might not purchase it that day, but you never know in a week or two from then if they're having a get together or they have some friends come over. There's like, you know what? I know this person doesn't eat meat. I'm going to try this Meaty. I really like the taste. There's so much other stuff that happens during a demo, interaction with staff, interaction with the team in the store, that you can kind of build a fan base right there who will sell that product for you. If you have an educated, I don't even like to call them brand ambassadors anymore, the product specialists. If you have an educated product specialist who is passionate about your brand, you can do phenomenal things at retail. And it's not even that hard and it's not even that expensive. And you can tie that to revenue. You can tie that to an ROI, and it's very beneficial. I'll get off my high hat. I just wanted to point that out. But Meaty's trained to success to me. They're a Colorado company. There's a really, really wonderful retailer there. It's called Natural Grocers by Vitamin Cottage. I worked for them when they were 10 stores. They were called Vitamin Cottage, and it was literally still probably my favorite job ever. It was just great company, great people, all about doing the right thing. You can control your destiny in that retailer. You don't have to go into every door, which is now like 170. I don't even know what they're up to store wise, but they don't really go by planograms. You could literally just have it in the Colorado market if you want. You could build a demo team to support it because they allow demos. You don't have to pay for them at all. And there's some very high velocity stores. Steamboat Springs is killer. Colfax store, not the one out on the west, but the one on the east. But there's some really good stuff. The Boulder store is number one. Like there's some really, really strong, busy stores. Start building that trial and awareness at the number one real retailer in the West that gets that customer that's a real, not really necessarily just a premium customer, but a customer who really wants to do better things for the world, better things for their bodies, better things for their families. And that's where you're going to close those velocity gaps. You're going to close those gaps in household penetration by just slowly building your brand, bite by bite, sample by sample, person by person.
And Jason, you mentioned, you wanted to get off your high horse, but if you're on the high horse, I'm right there with you. We both believe in the power of the demo, and that's going to help us transition to our next segment. We're going to have some fun with this segment. Brands that we would love to see demo that we believe there's a lot of potential for by embracing the power of the demo. So, Jason, I'm going to kick this off with, we'll each have two brands that we will talk about that we'd like to see either, get active in the demo market or get even more active. And I'm going to start out with one of my favorite all natural energy drinks. I love their soda, love their ginger ale, but I think that this is a gem that people don't talk enough about, and that is Zevia's energy line. I would love to see them do a lot more with it. I'd love to see them further distinguish it from their soda line. I think that, the energy drink category is massive, but there isn't enough growth just yet on the all natural energy drink. And that is a category. Not a lot of people know about it. Not a lot of people talk about it, but I am a recovery energy drink addict. I used to work in the mixed martial arts industry for a company called Bellator MMA. We were sponsored by Monster Energy, and we had more Monster than we could possibly drink. And, we would work long hours, and I started drinking 3 of those a day and ran into some health problems, had to get completely away from energy drinks, was able to transition into coffee, which was a lot healthier, but I missed that 2 p.m., 3 p.m., citrusy, cola, sugary energy drink taste. And, I drink a couple brands out there, but I just love Zevia. It has that, they've got multiple varieties, but I'm a massive fan of the cola flavor. And I just think as we get into cold beverage season, the weather's warming up here. If I was, involved with Zevia, I'd say, hey, let's push all the chips in behind our energy line, and let's go and try to drive velocity. The authorizations, like there's not enough authorizations for the energy drink right now. Yeah, I see the soda virtually everywhere now, but I think that that's a product that if they really got behind, the Zevia energy line would be massive. But that's my first choice. I'm going to throw it over to you, Jason.
Sorry, I don't have a visual for this one, but it's a brand that's dear to my heart, and a brand I've been following along since the last year Expo East. But Wild Wonder, just a phenomenal beverage. Functionality wise, I love the slim look of the way their packaging is great. It's a slimmer can. It's the 12 ounce. It's just their packaging is on point. Yep. The flavor is on point. The functionality is on point. And, you're in a very crowded category right now. Olipop owns it for a good reason. It's a phenomenal product. Like, honestly, that was my first love in this space. And I'm not saying anything against Olipop, because I will drink that root beer and cream soda like every day.
Love the lemon lime. Love the lemon lime.
But if I want something a little different, which, the guava rose or some of these like Wild Wonder, they have a new cherry one. Forgive me if I forgot what this. I think it's cherry lime. They launched it at Expo West this last year, and I can't wait, because I know I was talking to Jackie, who's their sales manager, and it's going to be in Wegmans soon. But great taste, great product. Honestly, I just think there's such a huge opportunity to sample it, because you win on taste and with the functionality, and you see the success of that category right now. And it's offering enough differentiation to me to where it's just not a Me Too product.
And shout out to Vibrance Marketing, Derek and Michaela. I believe they do some demos on behalf of Wild Wonder, and it is a great product. I've tried it. The way I would describe it, and you can tell me if I'm off base with this, it's as if kombucha and prebiotic soda had a child, it would be Wild Wonder. And it has that little bit of a kombucha taste and texture for me, but it's like half the sugar. So it's I think it's like 5 to 6 grams of sugar, but just a wonderful product. Another product that I would love to see get in the demo game, I think Zevia is in the demo game, but I think they should go even bigger. But a product that I don't even think is even being demoed right now at all. If you can't see it, let's see if I can get closer there. Magic Mind. You may have seen Magic Mind on your Instagram feeds. That's how I discovered it, and I do believe it's retailed at Sprouts. But I think the quality of this product, Magic Mind, is exceptional. I guess they say it's a mood in a bottle. It is definitely a mood in a bottle. Really big fan of it. And I think the sky's the limit for Wild Wonder. And I think that if they, get some more retail authorizations, this is something that they definitely should demo, but they should demo it the way Red Bull demoed their product. A sip of this is not going to win customers over. What Red Bull used to do back in the day, and they didn't do a lot of in-store demos. They did a lot of festivals and experiential events. Yeah. Their philosophy was, you're not going to fall in love with Red Bull with a couple sips. Either, if we're going to give you a sample, it's going to be a whole can so you can get the full Red Bull experience. So even if you don't like the taste, you're probably going to like how you feel. And I think with a product like Magic Mind, a couple sips is not going to do it. You need to get the full experience to the customer for them to have a true appreciation.
I love that. I'll have to try that. I honestly never had it before.
It's a mood in a bottle. It's excellent. Can't recommend it enough.
I'm on it. Last but not least, and I'd run to my fridge because I always have one of these in hand, but Midday Spark. And yeah, I know.
That's where you went. That's where you
went. But man, I'll tell you what, from someone who helped create the category they're in, you got a lot of opportunity down here in the United States, guys. And that Whole Foods global expansion in November last year is just money. And you guys have such a huge opportunity to grasp it. I don't know what's going on. I'm sure you guys are dealing with a lot with chocolate, tariffs, everything. But if you guys ever launch a demo program in the United States, I guarantee you're going to scale.
Agreed. 100% there. We need them in Costco in the US. I know they're doing a lot with Costco in Canada, but Costco US, let's get them here.
Let's get them. Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, please.
All right. We're going to close out. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're got a couple minutes left, so wanted to close it out with our promise segment here. We're going to review products here, possibly every week or maybe from time to time. We're still working that out. But one of the products that I wanted to review with Jason, Spindrift, legendary for their seltzers, but they have a new product, Spindrift Soda. I believe Jason has tried one of the varieties, but I have not tried it at all. So we're going to give live reactions right now. Jason, do you want to do the honors?
Love to. Let's see what happens here. All right.
There we go.
Before I do anything else, 7 grams of sugar, 40 calories. Ingredients are carbonated water, Concord grape juice, apple juice, lemon juice. That's it. So love it. Let's see what it tastes like.
And no sugar added. There's 7. I have the Shirley Temple, 7 grams of sugar, but no added sugar. So naturally occurring. I have the Shirley Temple, as I mentioned. I'm going to give it a whirl here. Not bad. Not bad. What are your impressions of the grape?
Honestly, pretty, I really like it. It's not super sweet, which I really enjoy. And I'm someone who has a lot of the functional beverages on often. So I've had a lot of the great flavors of Olipop and some of the others. I definitely like the taste of this. There's not an aftertaste. There's obviously not that stevia overhang. Got a really nice flavor. Is it a soda? I'm not really sure. It's definitely a Spindrift. I would definitely know it's a Spindrift just tasting it. That said, I really enjoy the ingredients in there. I love the source of the sweetness, and a great job.
I think it's a smart product. I think it's a natural extension of the Spindrift seltzers. I think that's what they're trying to create, a bridge to this product. It's not a big leap. It's not an Olipop. It's not a Poppy. It is pretty much the next expansion of Spindrift Seltzer. So if you're a fan of Spindrift Seltzer, I think you're going to be a fan of the seltzer. Of the soda. So very, very, very good product. Very smart product as well. Spindrift, they've been doing it right for years now.
Yes, I have.
Well, we're I think we nailed it. 30 minutes on the dot almost here. So we're going to close it out. But Jason, Awesome debut. Appreciate you doing this with me. Glad we're doing this together. I hope everybody enjoyed our first edition. We will get better. It's a work in progress. It's the first time Jason and I have ever done anything like this in terms of CPG, but we want to present, a field marketing perspective. There's some great CPG podcasts out there, but we felt like there was what was missing in the marketplace was one that was hypercentric on a focus on field marketing. So, Jason can speak from the brand perspective when it comes to field marketing. I can speak from the agency side. So we hope you enjoyed this first edition. We will be back next week, 8:30 a.m. next Wednesday on LinkedIn Live. You want to follow Jason and I and interact with us, check us out on LinkedIn. But until next week, we'll see you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Sam.